Hey everybody, this is Matt from Low Budget Ballers. We really appreciate all you listeners out there. And if you guys like the podcast, please hit like, leave us a comment, subscribe, and share us on your social media platforms. You guys can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Low Budget Pod. And spread the word, and we are available on iTunes and Google Play. And thank you for listening. Hello, people of the internet. Welcome back to the best fucking podcast on earth. I'm Matt.
I'm Lawrence.
And we are Low Budget Ballers. And so are you. And we have more playoffs to talk about.
Hell yeah, we do.
Right now, we're in the midst of the conference semifinals. We have 4 series going on, 8 teams left. 4 teams will remain standing.
4 teams will go home.
4 teams will go home. Or to Malibu.
Yeah, exactly. They're not going home.
Yeah, they're not going home.
Melo's already somewhere in the Bahamas.
He's
probably.
loving it. He's enjoying his off season, I'm sure. It started a little bit earlier than I think he planned. But we still have some big time series happening right now. Most teams are up 2-0 except for the Rockets. They're tied 1-1. We'll get into that. And let's start with the Cavs Raptors.
I fucking love this series. It's so much fun to watch one city just self-implode.
Yeah, it's really great to watch one man destroy an entire city's hopes and dreams.
And creating some very juicy memes in the process. Now, the whole year, all you've heard, this fucking media propaganda of goddamn the new Raptors. Oh my god, the new Raptors. Pascal Siakam. Here's a podcast about how the Raptors are a new team. They're moving the ball around. Oh my god, DeLon Wright. Fred VanVleet, who I think is actually a really good player. But at the same time, all these guys, oh my god, they're an amazing team. They won 59 games. And it has come just fucking crumbling down in spectacular fashion.
It's coming to a screeching halt. They've run into the brick wall that is LeBron James going at 60 miles an hour. And now they're all dead. So seriously though, like I never bought the Raptors are a new team thing. All right, like I get it. Okay, you can play a different kind of ball. You can like get all these nice little like ancillary parts or whatever. Van Vliet's really good. Siakam's good. Blah blah blah. DeLon Wright. They've developed these players. If you don't believe that you can beat LeBron James, you never will.
I mean, to be fair, that is true. And also, if your 2 best guys aren't even nearly on the same level as him, it's all like you didn't even start with a chance.
But at the same time, like they've led in these games. They should have definitely won game 1. Game 2 at least was like close throughout and before they got blown out. But my God, man, like I swear every time it really is a psychological thing. You can watch the games and you can feel the moment when the Raptors say to themselves, "Oh shit, here comes LeBron, here come the Cavs, and there's nothing we can do about it."
You want to know why that comes? It's because the fake lead that they have early on, or at least like if they're close to each other, like it's like, oh dude, we have a 10-point lead, we got a 15-point lead, we're up by 5. That's in like the beginning of the third quarter. LeBron's not even the Cavs are not at 100% full throttle at those moments. They know that periodically throughout the game how to spend their energy, and LeBron is the master of doing that. So at the same time, they do have a lead, but it is just such a fake. It's a mirage. Like, you have a small lead, but it doesn't really... You know that it's going to be dwindled down because of LeBron.
Yeah, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be. Like, you can...
Good point.
if you're up by, like, whatever it is, like, what were they up by in Game 1? In Game 1, they were up by...
A lot.
Yeah. Double digits at one point.
Yes.
No reason that you can't continue to make that work. Or at least perform at a level where you're not giving up the entire lead. Like, win the game by 4 points instead of losing the entire lead.
Yeah.
Like, there is a certain mentality that they have in that team, and you know it because of the quotes after they got beaten last year by that team. They were like, they have LeBron, we don't. And if your best players are the ones saying that, that's terrible, man. So you know that they're expecting to lose. They basically think, like, if LeBron plays his best, there's nothing that we can do. In their heart of hearts, that's what they think. And that's a big problem, man. Like, Bill Simmons was so on point when he said this the other day. When he tweeted this, I think it was yesterday, during the game. He was like, this is when the Toronto Raptors need somebody who has irrational confidence to just come in and break this kind of funk.
I totally agreed with that. It's a good point. Yeah, they don't have anybody like that who's just ready to take as many shots as they need to. Like, their two main guys, okay, it all comes down to Lowry and DeRozan, in my opinion. And neither of them have that, like, killer gene necessarily. Like, they're both flawed to a point where their flaws are too glaring to end up being able to dominate a game within the last 4.5 minutes of it, you know? Like, Lowry might make a bucket or DeRozan might make a bucket, but overall their entire, like, collection is just not enough to match what LeBron can do on the other side.
In Game 1, Fred VanVleet took the last shot in overtime and regulation.
And he actually played well Game 2.
He did. Yeah, he did. But that tells you everything that you need to know about that team.
Totally fair.
It wasn't DeRozan. It wasn't Lowry. It was Fred VanVleet.
Yeah. To be fair, that wasn't like a terrible play, that last one, because it wasn't in a DeRozan like dive and then kick back out or something like that.
It was, but at the same time, it's just like,
devise a plan, you know.
Yeah, get the ball in one of those two guys' hands to make the bucket, to take the shot. Like,
exactly. Like, all throughout the year, what I was saying with the media thing is, like, with the Raptors, they're just. Here's the problem with this: all you talk about is the scheme of the team, and, like, we're gonna live by this scheme and this new scheme and die by it by shooting outside shots and kicking the ball around and taking an extra pass. Like, DeRozan's got to become a better passer, which he has, but in the last few minutes, DeRozan's like, fuck it, I'm taking the ball, and it's over. You've given up the whole thing, your whole spiel.
Yeah, I just feel like this is going to be a sweep. This is going to end up being a sweep. Like, they went into Toronto and they just took their hearts. Yeah. And DeRozan doesn't have that dog in him. I thought Lowry did.
Lowry doesn't affect the game in enough ways, you know? I don't know, he makes impressive plays, but it's not. He only took 10 shots, you know? That's just who he is. He is a fantastic second-tier player. I'd love if they had another guy that was on their level. Then they'd have a chance. No, if they had a third guy.
No, they need someone who
had irrational confidence.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Who has irrational confidence. Mm-hmm. Like, at least a slight amount of irrational confidence. Because if you're DeMar DeRozan, you're not better than LeBron. That's clear. Like, you can't blame LeBron and Kyle Lowry for thinking that they're not better. But at least believe that on your day you can beat them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's like the thing. Like, when they always ask these players, they're like, what do you think about this guy? Who do you think is the best player in the league? And, like, it's clearly not the best player in the league, but they're like, me. What am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to believe that somebody else is better than me? Now, they know that they're not, but they believe in themselves enough to say, like, yeah, I believe that I can be the best player in the world on my day.
Yeah. It also comes down to things like Serge Ibaka playing terribly. Like, remember, okay, so last year at the trade deadline, they acquired him, and it was, I would say at the time, it was a pretty good trade, and I'm not sure they necessarily regret it, but at the same time, he ended up not being what they need. Like, everyone was like, oh, they need that 4, right? People thought it was Paul Millsap for a while. Remember, like, all the, like, hoopla about that? And it ended up that's not what they needed. They needed another star to, like, if the whole point was to beat LeBron, you needed another guy at the level of DeRozan and Lowry who has the killer instinct, quote unquote.
It depended on what you thought DeRozan's ceiling was, right? Because if you think that DeRozan can be, like, close to an MVP caliber guy, which he damn near is, then yeah, Ibaka can be the piece to put you over the top as long as DeRozan believes that he is that guy. But I don't think he does believe that he is that guy.
And it comes down to flaws within him, like he's not a good defender at all.
He's not a good defender, and he's not a good shooter. He's not a good shooter. He's a better shooter. Like, he's improved in his shooting, and he's improved in his playmaking.
He went 0 for 5.
That's not what he does naturally.
0 for 5.
But all that aside, like, just pure basketball ability aside, the Raptors should win this series. The Raptors should win this series. They're the better team.
They have the better roster from top to bottom.
From top to bottom, they absolutely do. They play better as a team. Their style of basketball is absolutely superior. But when things get tight, they stop playing their brand of basketball, which is why Dwayne Casey comes out and says, that's not us. That's not us. Well, let me tell you, it's you.
Yeah.
All right, that's no one else out there. That's you guys. That's you guys out there who are losing your confidence as the game goes on.
Yep. perfect irrational confidence guy for them would have been Jr.
J.R. Smith,
Right.
Jamal Crawford, Marcus Smart.
Yep.
They needed like a scoring Dion Waiters. That's
And
another
all these guys in their primes, like peak existence. But okay, so if we
Brandon Jennings.
yeah,
They had a chance to get him. He came over from China.
Oh yeah, true. Good point. But yeah, I mean the Cavs played pretty freaking well.
Dude, they played great.
They
play. This is just what the doctor ordered for the Cavs.
Yeah, the guys who needed to play, like LeBron said it, like he was pretty happy when they started that game one lineup of like the classic, string of guys who have been there, and it worked out then, and it worked out this game too. They started George Hill this time though.
Yeah, they've been starting.
And he played well.
Yeah, they've been starting Kevin Love at center, and he finally took advantage of that matchup with Valanciunas. He looked like the Kevin Love of old. Like he got some buckets down low, and he was stretching the floor when he needed to. Like I mean, this has always been a mystery to me. Like what the fuck happened to Kevin Love?
Yeah,
like,
and it's a lot on the defensive side. He just gets beat like so many times.
A lot, and you can see like he's like thinking too much out there because he makes these mistakes, and you're like, why did you make that mistake, Kevin Love? You're so good, and you're like a really smart player.
Yeah, sometimes just put your hands right up and fucking jump.
Yeah,
or just stand there.
I think playing with LeBron has hurt his confidence a little bit.
Listen, he knew going into this whole fucking process that I'm gonna be the fall guy. Shit's gonna happen, but you know what? I'm gonna live in it.
I really hope that he can like step it up. I think that part of the reason that I chose the Cavs to beat the Warriors in the finals last year was Kevin Love was playing so well up to that point. And I was like, if Kevin Love plays like this, they're going to win the series. But then he went to the finals.
That team last year might be like the greatest team to not win the championship. They were fucking awesome.
Yeah, they were really
fucking awesome. They swept the entire playoffs
they lost
minus
one,
a game.
They lost one game, but whatever. Yeah, they
what
were
happened
great.
was the other team only lost 0 on the way there.
Yeah, what happened is the other team won 73 games the year before, and then they added the second best player in the world.
Yeah, it's just fate.
So.
If I was LeBron, I'd be so pissed about this whole fucking thing because he'd have like 2 more rings.
Oh, for sure. At the same time, if he manages to somehow miraculously beat this team, it will be the greatest accomplishment in the history of basketball.
They will be
he immediately
murdered.
becomes better than Jordan. No joke. Like if especially if he beats them this year.
Yeah.
That team, that juggernaut of a team versus his terrible Cavs team. They're not good.
Yeah.
Like it's
compared to the Warriors.
It's just LeBron though.
Yeah. It's LeBron, half of Kevin Love, George Hill's dead body, Kyle Korver's hair,
and R.J. Smith.
And
that's what I'm calling it. It's not J.R. Smith. It's R.J. Smith.
And this guy named Rodney Hood who like doesn't even know how to play basketball at this point.
Rodney Hood's embarrassing, dude.
The only guy who's more embarrassing is Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah,
those guys
that's really
suck.
bad. They've been terrible.
Everyone who they added at the trade deadline minus George Hill has been terrible.
But dude, it's like I'm telling you, something about their it's like something happens to guys' confidence when they play with LeBron. Like some guys, it works out great and they play much better. They accept their role and that's what it is. Other guys struggle to figure out what the fuck their role is because they're just trying to get in LeBron's brain and it's impossible to do that. And so Jordan Clarkson, who's like a gunner, feels like he doesn't have the license to gun. And so he can't play his game.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are misplaced because of LeBron. And listen, they won the game because of LeBron. But also, guys are not playing that well because of LeBron. Now, why did they start those 5 guys who know how to play with LeBron? Because they know how to play. They've been there forever.
Right.
They know, listen, I'm not going to touch the ball for a while.
That's right.
Jordan Clarkson's used to having the ball.
Tristan Thompson, man, has been a revelation for them. He is so important to their success. That's why, like, if they can get those guys playing well, they can get Kevin Love playing well, they can get Tristan Thompson playing well, J.R. Smith playing well, they can beat anybody, including the Warriors. It's just they have to be hitting on all cylinders, and they have to all do their jobs. Like, Tristan Thompson's been killing it on the offensive glass.
Absolutely. That first game was fucking
awesome, man.
Dude, when he's playing well, I love it.
Yeah.
Because he's the exact kind of player, like, he fights for fucking rebounds and putbacks, and
Right.
he's like a classic center, undersized center, and he's just good as hell.
Super gritty, like, understands how to defend the rim on defense. I really like him
Maybe
a
he
lot.
just needed that, like, media hateful injection into his
He needed to get the Kardashians out of his life.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so he did it in a way that's probably not the best way.
Yeah, I wouldn't do what he did, so I can't advocate for it.
But I can advocate for leaving somebody who's terrible in your life.
Yeah.
Like, good job. I mean, kind of.
He's got baby mama problems, man.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Just be a good dad.
We're ballers here.
But you don't need to be in that relationship. Right?
If you're listening, Tristan, which I hope you are, because we're fans.
Yeah.
On the
big
court.
fans.
But if Rodney Hood and Jordan Clarkson just went like, all right, I'm not going to touch the ball for a while. If I just fucking catch and shoot.
Yeah.
Just catch and shoot.
You
and
have
run
to
down the court and play defense.
That's the thing. When you're playing with LeBron, you have to stay so engaged all the time. Like
Even
if you're not touching the ball.
Engaged.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. Because you have to be focused, understand what's happening on the court, know that you could get the ball at any time, and be prepared when that happens. But yeah, man, I think that this is really going to end up being a great thing for Cleveland, because I was not sure if they could beat Philly in the first off. I assumed that Philly would make it to the conference finals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
we'll talk about
the way that Boston's looking, like if Cleveland plays Boston or Philly in the conference final, I'm not sure that I would pick against them or pick them to beat. Sorry, I'm not sure I would pick LeBron to beat them.
Yeah,
but now, because they're basically playing this team that's like given up.
I mean, they
I think
probably will now give up.
I think it's going to be a sweep for sure. It's going to be a sweep because the moment, even if they're playing well, the moment the Cavs start to make their run, they're going to go into that mental space and be like, well, this is the moment. This is the part of the game that we lose the game in.
Yep.
And so I think that that's going to be really good for the Cavs because they're playing with supreme confidence, knowing that the other team knows that they can't beat them.
Yeah. This one...
They're getting their mojo back, man. The Cavs getting their mojo back. Thank you, Toronto.
Toronto's season is likely over, and I don't know what they do moving forward. Because they're a great regular season team. And I don't know what they're happy with.
I think they got to blow it up.
What do you even do? Like, you have these guys who are still in their primes. Like, if you roll this team back next year, you might win 60 games.
Yeah, and lose against LeBron.
Yep.
Like, do you just wait it out until LeBron's gone? Feels like it's going to be a while.
The uniqueness of basketball, man. You can have this amazing roster. You added, you drafted players, you signed players, you develop players, and then the other team has the best player on earth, and you lose. And it's really not necessarily your fault all the time, but goddamn, it is hard to live through.
It's like, I mean, look, this is like Toronto must feel like the rest of the league felt when Michael Jordan was playing, because there are other teams that you could argue were better than those Bulls, but they had Michael Jordan. So that was
as much as you want to talk about fucking Van Vliet and Valanciunas playing well or whatever, it's just like none of them are LeBron.
Yes.
So until LeBron's not LeBron, we don't have much to say.
They all have a ceiling. And basketball is a unique sport where if you have one guy who is extremely dominant, he can make up for the rest of the team.
Yep. And make those guys even better players and then elevate from B- to A-.
All right. So let's move on to the other Eastern Conference semifinals. Boston.
A more intriguing matchup at this point.
Well, it seemed to have been a more intriguing matchup, but now Boston's won the first two games on their home floor. They're going to play games 3 and 4 in Philadelphia. But man, I can't believe how I underestimated the Sixers again. Like, underestimated the Celtics again. I don't know how the fuck that happened.
Listen, they're a well-coached team. And they still have good players, and they're at home.
I'm the guy who says coaching is the biggest factor in the playoffs, and yet I picked the Sixers to win this in 5 games. I guess I gave Brett Brown a little too much credit, and I gave Ben Simmons and Embiid a little too much credit. My God, man, the Celtics just, everybody knows what to do. Everybody knows their role, and they do it perfectly. And the Sixers the thing that the Sixers are going through now is the thing I thought they would go through in the first round. When it comes down to winning time, they don't know what to do.
The growing pains.
Yeah, growing pains of becoming a championship team. And it's starting to show up against a team that is better and better coached.
Yeah, the Heat didn't have the personnel to really give them problems.
Yeah.
They had the personnel to win a game.
And they made all those games competitive, and the Heat were like in that. But ultimately, they just couldn't do it because they don't have the personnel. Boston seems to, man. Like, Rozier is playing out of his mind. He has earned himself so much money.
You know what sucks? I thought his contract was over after the playoffs ended, but no, it's actually next year. So he gets another year at like $4 million or whatever it is.
I don't think that there's anything that he could do that would hurt his stock at this point because
Yeah.
let's say next year he doesn't play as well, everybody's going to be like, well, he's in the backup role, he's not like getting the touches that he was before.
Totally right.
Everyone's going to be like, put him in a lead guard role and see what he can do.
Mm-hmm. He'll be on the Magic in a year or some shit,
That's
making
so
like
true.
18 mil.
Oh my god,
right?
that's such a fucking good call. The Magic,
My Magic.
Like, that's our guy, and then Rozier's going to go back to being like a below 40% shooter,
but scoring 20 a
scoring
night.
20 a game. Exactly, super inefficient.
I can't wait. I'll watch every game.
But man, there's so many storylines that are interesting in this series, and one of them is the Tatum-Fultz dynamic, because these two teams had the first and third pick, and then they traded.
They made
the
a
first and
legendary
third pick.
trade.
Yeah,
That has ripple effects like forever, basically.
and right now, the Sixers, who picked Fultz number 1 in the draft, are not even playing Fultz. He hasn't touched the floor in the first 2 games of this series. And Tatum is playing like he's an all-star.
He's like an all-star right before he becomes the all-star. Like, he's this like bud, and next year it'll just be a gigantic flower.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
He's going to be immediate, like next year for sure. It's going to
He
be
has
right
moves
away.
that it's like, that's a fucking bucket right there. Like, right to the rim, these long arms that can just finish either side. He could score left side, right side, inside, outside. It's fucking awesome.
He came into the league with a really deep understanding of how to play offense, and it's only gotten better over the 82 games of the regular season and the first round of the playoffs. Like, playing for Brad Stevens was the perfect coach for Jason Tatum. That's a perfect coach and player tandem, because Tatum's a really intelligent
He's had
player.
good coaches.
And,
Coach K.
Oh, that's this part. I mean, it's not his choice to go to play for the Celtics, but he chose to go play for Duke, and that was a really wise decision to play for a coach who knows exactly what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the Sixers look terrible. Like
Yeah.
that their guy. It's not even that he's playing and he's not playing well. They're not playing him at all, and they lost. They traded a pick to get him.
I don't think anybody doubts his ability to play, but his ability to affect a playoff game is like definitely in question.
So then
If they
let's
do play
find
him,
out.
I know. I want it's hard, man. Let's say you're Brett Brown. You're like, fuck, we just lost by only 5 points. Listen, 5 points, you can make that up. 1 or 2 small decisions becomes 5 points, and then that's an overtime game. So if you really want to risk it and put Fultz out there, and if he makes 1 to 2 to 3 mistakes, gotta take him out.
And I understand that there's a major risk there. But the thing is, if you're Brett Brown and you're up 20 points and that lead evaporates, try something different. Like, you've got to change something up if that's what happened, because there's no reason that you should lose that lead. That's ridiculous. Like, the way and they completely changed the way that they were playing. They are at their best, at least in this series, because of the way that Boston is defending Ben Simmons. They're not respecting his shot at all. Mm-hmm. They're literally Al Horford waiting in the paint for him to arrive every time.
It's so much fun to watch. And sometimes it screws them, because then he gets a wide open outlet pass. There's someone there, but you don't shut down their best guy and fucking live with the consequences.
But you know how you can at least change it up? Like, if you don't want to abandon it entirely because Ben Simmons is such a great player, bring Markelle Fultz in or even TJ McConnell, and you play Embiid on the block. Mm. He is unstoppable on the block. They got their lead playing through him in the post. They came back in the game in the fourth quarter and had a lead playing through Embiid in the post. They have to get back to that, because Boston is just going to clog the lane on drivers, especially Ben Simmons, because he can't shoot. So you have to find a way to open that lane up a little bit, and the best way to do it is just stick your biggest and best player down there and let him go to work, and don't worry about getting the driving lanes that you need.
You also can't let Embiid get in that much foul trouble. He has to be way more passive on defense throughout the course of the game, so that when the game is nearing its end and you need to play your best, moments, you have to be ready to take a few fouls, because you have to be at 3 or 4 fouls instead of 5, because 5 is you have to play differently now.
Yeah,
and he was letting guys score on him because he didn't want to foul out.
That hurt them real bad in the last 5 minutes of the game, because there were 2 plays that come to mind where he just got burned, and it was like, that doesn't usually happen to Embiid. Mm-hmm. Embiid has quick enough feet where he can recover and block a shot at the rim if he gets beat.
But he couldn't take the risk. I get it, but at the same time, it is also his fault for the 5 fouls.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Brett Brown has to partition the minutes where he's just if he has 2 fouls in the first quarter, just take him out until the end of the second.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can't play with 3 fouls in the first half.
Yeah, that's so stupid.
You can't ever.
Come on, that's a coaching error. You can't let him get that.
Brett Brown has made a lot of mistakes in this series. A lot of mistakes, man. Like they just went entirely away from what they were doing that got them the lead, and they just started jacking threes. They like got too confident, and they were like, "Oh, we can just do whatever we want and beat this team because we're up by 20 and we're the young Sixers and we've destroyed every competition that's been in front of us so far." It's just the arrogance of being young.
Yeah, and the growing pains of going through like this is your first time doing it, and at least, I mean, it's so weird because the Celtics did a great job in exploiting Simmons' number one flaw, which is like space of the court.
Yeah.
He needs to be able to drive to score. He's great at doing it, but as soon as you become so like it was such a drastic thing. Like there's a meme going around now where it's like Horford all the way from Simmons, and it's like fucking shoot it, punk. Like just because you can't come at me because I am gonna be able to stop you, and someone will close out on you.
Yeah, and Horford's disciplined enough where he's not gonna make the mistake of stepping out of the paint to guard him.
Horford had one foul somehow.
Yeah, dude, because he's a smart ass player, man.
Yeah, he just does everything right. It's crazy. He affects the games in so many more ways than just scoring.
He does. I have to get off the. I'm never gonna like get away from making fun of Al Horford.
Yeah, of course, it's funny.
Just because he doesn't seem like he should be that good, and even though he is awesome, like I just like to kind of like poke fun at him. It's like one of those. He just doesn't look like he should be an amazing NBA player. It's when you look at Paul Pierce, it's like, are you really an amazing player? How are you an amazing basketball player? But he is.
He's just slow and kind of chubby.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's just this fucking god of
awesome.
basketball.
2-time national champion in college.
I miss watching Paul Pierce's like fadeaway shot. It was so much fun. I grew up watching it. It was a great time.
Talk about a guy who had a high basketball IQ. Paul Pierce was it, man.
Just that really high, like, cocked back, like, oh man, we need somebody like that.
He knew how to pick his spots for sure.
Tatum might be like, Tatum has a little bit of that.
He does, dude. He has an old man's game.
Yeah, and that's what you need. I love the old man game,
dude. He has it. He has it. He's a young guy who's pretty athletic. He's not like a super athlete. Jaylen Brown's more athletic than him, but Jaylen
Brown jumps 70 feet in the fucking air.
He's a goddamn monster of an athlete. I love Jaylen Brown. I love him as a player. I love him as a person.
He's a top 10 favorite player for me in the league.
Yeah, he's absolutely. Yeah, and they're gonna get him healthier and healthier as the series goes on. Well, hopefully. Yeah,
hopefully he starts or something happens with that. But
he played well in the minutes that he played yesterday. He just retweaked that hamstring.
Yeah, it sucks. And then hamstring shit just like lingers, and he's gonna play on it.
Yeah, he's gonna.
What are you gonna do? I mean, you're gonna have to play through the pain, my friend.
Maybe they rest him for Game 3 because they're in Philadelphia and up 2-0.
Maybe. It depends. Whatever Stevens does, I'll trust it at this point. Like, what are you going to do?
Honestly, I will never question
the
Brad
talent
Stevens.
disparity. I just want to give a shout out to JJ Redick, who is so unbelievably good at scoring. He's just... I love watching him. He's another top 10 guy for me. Like, I swear to, like, if I had to pick 10 guys that I love watching the most, JJ Redick's on the list.
Definitely not even close to the top 10 for me.
Dude, watching him on offense is just a fucking magical thing. Him coming off of, just like running through these screens and coming off and grabbing it and taking one shot, doesn't even look at the rim, and then the last second looks at it and just hits a dagger every time. It's like, holy shit.
You know who used to do that, I think, better, and I used to love watching him do that, was Korver.
Yeah.
Korver, like, really, when Korver was at his peak, dude, he like, affected games in ways that guys hadn't at that point. Mm-hmm. I mean, and then, like, Klay Thompson came to the league, and it was like, well, this is the best version of that ever.
JJ Redick shot 6.6 threes per game this season and hit 42% of them. That's fucking so good.
Yeah. He is really good, and he's a really, really good shooter, and that's what he's always been good at.
He's just a great fucking pull-up shot, and always has been. Man, I just like watching him. He does a lot for that team. And moving forward, I don't know, maybe make him take more shots. I'm not sure. Whatever.
He's the veteran leader on that team.
Yeah, kind of. Like, he just, he's been through the most out of pretty much any of those guys. So.
Oh, yeah. Didn't you say, like, a few weeks ago that JJ Redick has never missed the playoffs?
I think that's true. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, I can check right now. Playoffs. Age 22. Yeah, I can't find a year where he ever missed it. Yeah. From age 20, because 2007 to 2010, 2007, 2012, Magic every year. Then Milwaukee, when he got traded, and they were going to miss the playoffs. Then Clippers for 4 years, now Philly. He's just been blessed to be on these teams.
He's been blessed. Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed.
All right. Anything else on this series?
I'm going to watch every game moving forward.
All right. Well, let's manifest destiny and move west.
I bet you were saving that shit.
I just came up with that.
Oh, you're a genius.
Not even kidding. Definitely not that. I'm like a Kanye genius. I'm that kind of a genius. I'm not a genius.
You think you're a genius.
I love fish sticks. I don't understand.
They predicted that shit so long ago.
Dude, they knew right away. First off, Kanye was never a genius, all right? I'm just going to come out and say it, all right? Kanye was never a genius. His music was pretty good. A lot of people really loved his music, whatever. I thought it was okay. Never considered him a genius, not even a fucking musical genius.
There was no...
He's the most empty motherfucker alive. Let's move on.
Somebody had to say it.
All right, Rockets Jazz. Or no, sorry. You want to go do Golden State Pelicans first?
I was waiting for you.
Okay.
Go back.
Golden State Pelicans. It's going back to New Orleans, 2-0.
You just go right to the game 3. Let's just forget the first
Going to
two.
game 3, forget about games 1 and 2. Actually, I'm not even that discouraged by games 1 and 2. To be honest, I'm encouraged. Because ultimately, I picked the Warriors to win this in 7 if Steph was healthy. He's now healthy. The Warriors will win in 7.
The Warriors are going to win the series. I would love to see the Pelicans really show some fight and win a game or two. That's just where we're at in the series.
I think they get both of these 2 games in New Orleans.
It would be really impressive if they won those.
They had a real chance, and you could argue that they should have won game 2. They had a lead down the stretch.
Easily could argue that, of course.
They could totally have won that game.
They have a few matchup problems with like putting Holiday on Durant, and then you can't really use Holiday on the other side of the ball because he's so freaking tired. It's hard. His usage percentage, I think, is a little bit down because of that. He can't touch the ball that much.
Yeah, I mean, he's completely exhausted because he's just expending so much energy chasing Kevin Durant around on the other end.
And as much as I love Mirotic, he can't really make up for that much.
He was doing an okay job on Durant in the first game. It's just they need to play about as well as they can to beat them, especially with Steph. And they need to get a little bit of an off night from those guys. They can still do that, and they can still be really competitive. Look, the most encouraging thing was they made major adjustments from game 1 to 2. They switched Drew Holiday onto Kevin Durant and basically played one-on-one with him. And they got Anthony Davis a lot more touches on the elbow. And Rajon Rondo took more of an offensive load. Mm-hmm. And it worked for a lot of the game. They ended up losing to the best team in the league, the defending champions, on their home court by not a lot. You know, it took the Warriors pulling away towards the end of the game to pull it off. So they're down 2-0, but it's not really that big of a deal. Like they're going
2-0 is just 2-0. However it happened, fucking learn from whatever happened and just keep moving forward. I would say it's so hard because they have to play guys like Solomon Hill and Darius Miller.
So that's really tough. That's really tough. Solomon Hill is bad.
Yeah, you just can't really play. He can't play.
Bad.
Like, can't play.
I thought he was better
can't
than
win
what he
with
is, but he's not. Yeah.
He's just a guy you can't win with. He went 1 for 6 in those 10 minutes, man. If those 2 shots could have changed the whole game. They lost by 5.
Dude, switch out Darius Miller and Solomon Hill for like Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet.
Exactly.
And it's 1-1.
Is a great point.
And it's 1-1.
Yep. I totally agree.
Yeah, they are really, really suffering from having an extremely thin team.
The problem is also that the Warriors kind of had an off shooting night. Durant went 11 for 23 and Thompson went 4 for 20.
But the thing is, both of them haven't shot well in either of the first 2 games. And I again think that is an encouraging thing, especially if you watch the games. New Orleans is playing a good defense on those guys. They just need to control, again, I'm going to say this over and over again for every team that's trying to beat the Golden State Warriors. You must control the pace of play. If you cannot do that, you can't win. They were doing it, and it got a little bit away from them towards the end of the game. They need to slow it down just a little bit. Like when the Warriors go on those runs that they always go on, where they hit a 3 quick, and then they basically like get you out of your game and like off your mental game, so you're trying to get that 3 back quickly or whatever. They go down, run down the court again, find the open man, hit another 3, and then you're in a running contest with them.
Yeah.
You need to slow the game down at that point.
Yeah, because if you look at the points per 100 possessions on transitions, New Orleans was plus 1.7, but Golden State was plus 4.2.
Exactly.
That's just a little margin that Golden State is basically always going to beat you in.
That's every time against every team in the league. That's how they're going to beat you. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, you need to recognize that it's happening, and you need to slow the game down. So Rondo just needs to be like, okay, they just hit a 3 in transition. This is where I'm gonna fucking walk the ball up the court. Anthony Davis, there you go, there. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get you the ball, and no one on that team can guard you. Do your thing.
Yep.
It's like
just keep doing it.
I know it's a bit of an oversimplification.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, what are you gonna? Anthony Davis, yeah. I wish he would actually take more. He took 24 shots, but like, fuck, give him 30.
I agree.
Why not?
I'm 100% with that.
He put up 42. You know.
Dude, him surrounded by Rondo, Antoine Moore, Mirotic, and Holiday, they can win. They absolutely can win.
Not the series, in my opinion.
I don't think that they can beat them. I don't think they can win the series with Steph. I just don't think it's you can't, because what's the best case scenario? They go to Golden State for the 7th game. There's no way they're winning that. It's just not going to happen.
Without Steph, this is an evenly matched thing.
I have the Pelicans winning if Steph is not there. And
but he's there.
And let's say Steph isn't playing in game 2.
What if he gets hurt game 3? We have no idea, you know. So we can only speculate on the here and now.
But that third game is tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm picking the Pelicans to win game 3. And the other game that is tonight is game 3 of the Rockets and Jazz series, which is currently tied 1-1.
I'm going to give you the floor for like however long.
Okay. So here's the deal.
Here's the rub.
The Rockets are just immature. They do not learn from their past mistakes. They have one style of play, and if that doesn't go well, they don't have a plan B. And that's partly D'Antoni, but then it's also partly the team's mentality, because when they lost that game in game 2, which they shouldn't have lost. So every other series is 2-0. They were the number 1 seed in the entire NBA. They had both of the first 2 games at home against a team that probably shouldn't have won the first round, but they did. They beat Oklahoma City. So now they're playing against Utah without their starting point guard in Ricky Rubio. And they were down by 19 at one point in this game. And what that says to me is, you didn't take this team seriously. You didn't come to play.
And Utah took it very seriously.
Oh,
we're moving on.
That's right.
You're in our way,
dude,
bitch.
Utah thinks that they are going to win the series. And honestly, if the Rockets do not get their act together, they're going to lose. They're going to lose. Dude, when they were in the fucking press conference, they were just like, it's all good. It's all good. We just didn't hit shots. No, it's not that you just didn't hit shots. Yes, that is an aspect of the game. There's so many other aspects of the game that you need to pay attention to. It's not just about jacking the most threes, and whoever shoots the most threes wins the game. It's about playing defense. It's about rebounding. It's about moving the ball on offense and not being super predictable. So when you play against a guy like Quinn Snyder and you only have one way to play, he's going to figure it out. And he did in game 2, and they beat you. And if you don't play defense, which they didn't, because both of the first 2 games, Utah shot over 50%, you're going to lose this series. So get your acts together. For real. Like, you have to understand that you have to play defense if you are going to win in this league. And I'm telling you, man, they're going to lose this game tonight in Utah.
Yeah, their half-court offense was 93.3 points per 100 possessions, which is, if you're interested, in the 50th percentile, which is very bad. And also their non-corner threes, they were 6 for 27, which is, they're going to live and die by it. And when you miss it, hey, you died by it.
But it can't just be that. That's their whole philosophy. We're going to shoot more threes than you, and that's how we're going to win, because 3 is worth more than 2. Well, guess what? Utah shot more threes than you in the second game, because they were like, oh, well, this is the only way that they play.
Oh, wait, no, Houston took 4 more threes.
Oh, they took
made
4
5 more.
But so they made
Jazz
5
made
more.
5 more, yeah.
So, but that's what I mean. Like,
yeah.
They're just like, all right, we're going to like tweak our system a little bit. We're going to shoot a bunch more threes. That's not as many threes as they usually shoot.
Yeah, yeah.
So they were like, you're not going to defend us? Sure, we're going to take wide open threes and we're going to hit them. Like, it has to be more than just we have to make our shots. It's okay. We didn't hustle for loose balls. We didn't play defense. We didn't play perimeter defense. We didn't protect the rim. Like, we didn't take hard fouls when we needed to. Like, they just didn't play with a sense of pride. It was really, like, hurtful as a fan, to be honest. Because it was just like, how many times are we going to do this before you recognize that you can't continue to play like this?
Yeah, they are kept alive by the same thing that's killing them. You know? Like, they have decided that we're going to live and die by math. And that's got a lot of negative things that come with it because the math doesn't shake out all the time. You're just playing the percentages, you know?
This is like...
It's not really necessarily fun to watch either.
Not
if you're
necessarily.
a basketball fan.
Yeah, like when it's going well, it's great. And it's like, well, this is nice. But like, the difference... First off, the Warriors don't shoot... They don't play like this. Like, I think that they just thought, like, oh, we're going to catch the Warriors playing like... We're going to play like the Warriors. That's not how the Warriors play. The Warriors took, like, I think the 10th most threes in the NBA this year.
Yeah, sounds right.
But they just need... D'Antoni needs to figure out what to do when his system isn't going well. Like, again, it's the same kind of thing. How do you get easy buckets? How do you slow the game down when your jump shots aren't going in? How do you stop the other team? It's not just about you outscoring them. They were a great defensive team in the regular season. I don't know what the fuck has happened in this series.
It's weird that, all right, Chris Paul shot 8 for 19, had 3 assists. I don't know why when their outside shooting isn't really going, just do a Capella Paul high screen.
Yes.
Don't make him fade, make him roll, and dive to the hoop. Just keep running that. I'm really not sure how it's possible to even stop that. And then if there's nothing there, kick it out, come back to the top of the key, figure something else out. You have a lot of time. It only takes about 5 to 7 seconds to really run that pick and roll thing. And if you don't want to, then fucking rotate the ball and maybe don't take a 3 all the time. Because they do force a lot of shots.
I'm telling you, man, that's their mentality. It's just, we're going to take more threes than you, we're going to hit more threes than you, and that's how we're going to win. And if that doesn't happen, well, it's no big deal. We got the shots we wanted, but they just didn't fall. Well, that's what fucking happens in basketball. So when that happens, what else can you do to win this game? Can you out-rebound them? Can you play good defense and challenge all of their 3-point lines? Can you get to the line, slow the game down?
Thing. Get to the freaking line, man.
Like, so much. We forget that this is competition. And the more competitive that you are, the better chance that you have of winning, which is why super competitive dudes like Michael Jordan win so much. Like, it's just so fucking frustrating for me to talk about because all I've seen as a Rockets fan for like the last few years is James Harden nonchalant, no big deal. When we win, we win. When we lose, doesn't fucking affect me. I can't stand that shit. It makes me so angry.
And he played pretty well. Like, he had like a 12 for 13 from the line, 11 assists, 32 points. Like, I feel like he
shot 9 of 22.
Yeah, it's not that good. But if you want to look at Donovan Mitchell, he shot 6 for 21. So.
But okay, so that's a perfect example, though. He shot 6 for 21, and they won the game because they do other things.
Well, the team does other things, too, though. I wouldn't necessarily blame the entire loss on Harden. I really wouldn't. But at the same time, if he really is the MVP and the greatness of greatness, he would have made up for the deficit that they had.
It's the mentality, though. It's really like the mentality. Like, so at the end of the game, if I had heard him go into the press conference and be like, yeah, we missed our shots, but we also didn't play any defense. We didn't bear down and play defense. He was like, we made our comeback, whatever, and like, we just let them get too hot at the beginning of the game.
What did Chris Paul say?
Why did you let them get too? It was the same shit.
Yeah.
Same shit. They were like in lockstep.
I feel like he would just be like, our fucking guys didn't play hard enough today. That's why we lost.
Maybe he's saying that in the locker room, but I really feel like
because Chris Paul, he doesn't fuck around at all.
He doesn't fuck around. That's why
weird.
That's why I was excited to have him because I was like, maybe this can like rub off a little bit on James Harden.
Of, like, too much threes and not enough this,
Yes, Chris Paul's mid-range game is what I thought they could do differently this year, and it just I don't know, man. They're just so goddamn frustrating.
But now it's. The momentum a little bit shifts now because Utah's crowd is fucking crazy.
They are totally crazy, and they believe that they can win. They think they're coming into this expecting to win. And you can tell by the way that the Rockets came into the series, they feel entitled. They feel like they're the better team. They should win this series, And so they're not necessarily going to give their best effort. Like, you're in the fucking Western Conference semifinals, dude. Dive on the floor. Take hard fouls. Do what you have to do to win the game. Show that it means something to you. Don't just try to outsmart the competition. It doesn't work that way, especially when the other team's coach is better than your coach.
Yeah, definitely. D'Antoni has a lot of the blame here. I wouldn't... It's just...
So much of sports in general is about your mentality going in. The reason that the Golden State Warriors upset the Dallas Mavericks when the Dallas Mavericks had the best record in basketball is because they wanted it more. They believed that they could win, and they wanted it more, and then they did it.
I translate what you're saying as, like, because they became more physical.
Right.
Like, the Jazz just became a more physical team, and also Joe Ingles was, like, fucking insanely good. But you have to account for one of the guys on the other team is going to play really well.
Yes.
You have to account for that.
Thank you. Yes. It can't just be
going
like,
to happen.
Well, we're better, and we got the shots we wanted, so...
It is kind of like the Rockets are like, yeah, we're better, so we should win.
Dude, it's the same thing that fucking happened with Oklahoma City. They thought that they were the better team, and so they totally underestimated the Jazz. Mm-hmm. And when it was too late, they were like, oh, fuck, we're fucked.
Or it's like they underestimated their opponent and they overestimated their own abilities.
That's exactly right. That's what it is. And I think that the Rockets are very susceptible to doing the same thing against this very, very dangerous Jazz team who I'm picking to win tonight's game.
Yeah, me too. I'll go with the Jazz. Although I obviously wouldn't be surprised if we went the other way, but I think that the crowd will be like really into it. They'll have their systems ready. Is Rubio when is he going to come back?
I don't know.
I can't find any info.
I don't know. I haven't seen any info about what's going on there. He's
out for this game.
He's definitely out for the game.
Yeah, he's ruled out.
I'm pretty sure that they said that he's not going to play this series at all. But God fucking damn it! I just lost my train of thought. Whatever. Yeah, the Rockets need to like get their shit together.
Absolutely.
I think tonight's game, This is what I was going to say. Tonight's game is going to be a tight game, and Utah wins. Like, it's going to be very close coming down the stretch. This is my big, crazy, out there prediction. James Harden turns the ball over, Donovan Mitchell hits the winning shot.
Just this one play. Wow. If you actually get this correct, there's like a 0.1% chance this is true, but if it is, I will just spread it everywhere.
At some point, I guarantee this will happen at some point in this series. There will be a close game down the stretch of this series where James Harden turns the ball over a couple of times and Utah takes advantage and wins the game at the end of the game. That will happen.
Man, that would suck. That would just be like...
I'm not trying to be like super negative, but I'm just saying I know this team and I've seen this happen before over and over and over again with this team. And I thought that they might have gotten past it. It seemed like they kind of have. Like I even said, like Harden seems like he has a different mentality. I said that a couple weeks ago. And it's just back to the same fucking shit. Like, show me something different. Show me that you have learned from your past mistakes. There is no better quality in an NBA player than humility. No, well, a little bit of humility. Like, you have to have some kind of self-reflection. Because if you don't have that, then you can never get better.
I still think the Rockets win the series.
I'm not abandoning ship entirely. I just think I was almost going to go as far as say as whoever wins tonight's game is going to win the series. But I feel like the Rockets could win Game 4 and then go back home and get home court advantage. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon.
In terms of coaching adjustments, I really would cut down Eric Gordon's minutes. At this point, I just don't see him as an effective tool in this game.
I disagree with that because I think that you need to get him going if you're going to have any chance of winning later on in the playoffs. Excuse me.
That's fair, but at the same time, like maybe this matchup just isn't right for him.
I don't see why it isn't though. Like it's not like they have a ton of wing defenders.
They kind of do. Jay Crowder, Ingles is good. Mitchell can play defense if Rubio comes back. Exum's really athletic. You know, like I just don't really know exactly what it is. I can't say exactly what it is because I don't really know. But at the same time, like I know he's shot 5 for 60 and
he hasn't played well. He hasn't played well all year, but the problem is they need to get him going. Like and it could just be who knows, it could be tonight's game and he hits 7 threes.
Why aren't they playing Joe Johnson at all?
Joe Johnson? Because he's old.
He's
He's old.
Turns out he's a non-factor.
He's old. He can't keep up. He hasn't played with the team long enough. And D'Antoni notoriously shortened his rotation in the playoffs, which is another big mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
D'Antoni is another guy. Like D'Antoni might be more culpable than Harden in this situation, to be honest. And he probably
I think
is.
that's true.
He probably is. And that's another guy who needs to change his mentality. Oh, it's not a failure if we don't win the chance. Yes, it is a failure if you don't win it. That's the whole idea.
Yeah,
that's the whole idea. And the reason that you haven't at this point is because you make it okay for your players not to by saying that.
Yeah, don't blame anybody but yourself at all. If you're a player, coach, GM, owner, whatever the fuck.
It just all the teams that look, I'm a New Yorker, man, born and bred. I want my teams to be tough and gritty so that when things get tight and things aren't going your way, you bear down and do whatever you have to do. Find a way. Just find a way to win.
They're not really being creative in their solutions for it.
That's not the Rockets. That's not the Rockets. That's not who they are.
So we'll have to see if D'Antoni does anything different. They play tonight, right?
They play tonight. They play at 10:30 tonight.
God. I would be really nervous.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Because Jazz is playing with house money. They're like, fuck it. Somehow we're 3 games away from the conference finals.
I have the Jazz winning this game. I just think that they're going to win the game.
I think so too.
Is there anything else on this series?
I think I'm pooped out.
All right. So, moving on from basketball on the court, we have some news off the court.
Personnel news.
Our New York Knicks hired who was my number one choice for the job. I know you liked Bud
My number two.
Dave Fizdale, congratulations. You're the new head coach of the New York Knicks.
Woo!
Dude, as soon as I saw that, I was freaking out.
Very good choice.
I was like, this is the perfect choice. Perfect choice for New York. Budenholzer, I like Budenholzer a lot, and I think that his system actually is even more impressive. But it's the New York job.
Yeah.
And I don't think Mike Budenholzer is ready for that.
I just think that Fizz has the personality where he's like ready to take on whatever. Dude, he doesn't really give a shit. Like
New York is going to love him.
Yeah.
Especially
if he does a good job. Now, the reports were that Scott Perry and Steve Mills were interviewing people, and a lot of their questions were based around Frank Ntilikina, being like, so how are you going to use him? So I kind of looked up, like, how did Fizdale, and the only year he fully coached a team when he took the Grizzlies to the playoffs, and that team really wasn't that impressive. They had, like, old man Zach Randolph, Tony Allen, who could barely play at that point.
It was Mike Conley and Gasol.
Yeah, and they used Conley off the ball a lot, and like so he could play defense a lot more and like just kind of catch and shoot a little bit. Now I'm not a Grizzlies fan, so I really can't attest to everything he did, but seems like maybe they were happy with that and looked at the Ntilikina situation, and maybe he'll bring a little bit of a creative buzz. I don't know how we'll inject that into him, but I like the pick. Why should I not be excited about that pick? That's a good pick. He's a good coach.
I love it.
He got scapegoated. It was just stupid. That was a mistake.
I totally love it. I think that first off, he's a great coach.
I don't know what the whole firing thing was like. And there's a lot of weird shit that happened this year, but that was a weird move.
Memphis is notorious for doing that, though. They fired Lionel Hollins after he took a team to the conference finals. Like they were just they just don't know. They just I don't know. They're weird over there.
And then David Yeager.
I don't know what they're looking for. Like what else are you trying to do? Yeah, Fizdale is a great coach. I think he's a great coach. He's very well respected and liked by the players around the league, which is really, really intriguing because LeBron's a free agent. Just saying, LeBron loves Fizz.
Of course, the reports immediately came out.
Yeah, no, he's not. Look, he's not. LeBron's
yeah, no, he's not. But at the same time, it's fun to speculate. Like,
yeah,
because I tweeted about this. I was like, listen, it's not happening. I accept that.
Oh, he's not.
But at the same time, like, if LeBron chose to come to the Knicks, it would somehow even more bolster his like legacy. Like, if he just came to New York and brought winning to New York, like, he would forever be loved by like a whole new fan base now.
Oh yeah. Oh, he would be a legend.
Like, just even more of a legend he already is.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Like a New York basketball legend is a different kind of thing.
I actually think that if Porzingis wasn't out, that there would be way more buzz. Because if you consider what the Knicks have in trade pieces, you know, hypothetically, like top 10 pick, Ntilikina, you know, move those things around if Porzingis was healthy.
Moutier.
Move off some guys or get veterans.
Courtney Lee is there.
Courtney Lee is a win now guy, and they already have him. And I love Tim Hardaway. I mean, I think Tim Hardaway would work perfectly with LeBron.
I think Tim Hardaway is going to get a lot better under Fizdale. I just think
I agree.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, like they have a team full of really tough grinders. I really like the makeup of the team, which is why at the beginning of the season, I was super excited about them because they would grind out games and they still won. I think they finished the year with a winning record at home, which is crazy to think about. That team that bad had a winning record at home. I'm pretty sure.
I can check it right now.
If not, it was like 500.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm super excited to get a coach who has that same kind of mentality, man. Like he just seems like the perfect New York coach.
Yeah, I think he's ready to. I mean, personally, it matters a lot because oh my god, he's gonna get so much bullshit like coming his way. And I can't find it. They were somewhere around 500. But I mean, it could have been fucking Mark Jackson. It could have been.
I'm so happy it's not Mark Jackson. Thank you for not hiring Mark Jackson.
Could have been such a bum.
So the Knicks were 19-22 at home, but considering they were 29-53 overall, that's pretty fucking good.
Listen, the whole season was destroyed by Porzingis going down. Everybody knows that. That's just what happened.
Absolutely true.
If you're a fan, if you're not a fan, if you watch every game, if you didn't watch a second of it.
Porzingis, I'm so excited that people are like worrying. They're like, oh, is Fizdale going to get along with his star player? Dude, Porzingis and Marc Gasol could not be more different personality-wise.
Yeah, they have different goals. Like Porzingis is young and he's about to hit this long rehab stint, and he's just ready to like build something long term. And Gasol's like, oh, this team sucks, but I'm 33 or 34, like, and I'm mad. So they're definitely different guys, even though they're very tall, white. Oh wait, no, he's actually Spanish, so I'm not sure.
He's still that's white.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you come from Spain, you're white, dude. That's how it works.
I have legit no idea. I want to go there though. I've heard it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Barcelona's great. All right. Is there anything else that we want to cover?
I think we're good.
All right. So what are your picks for the night?
Who's playing again?
It's first game is New Orleans and Golden State in New Orleans. I have the Pelicans in that.
Yeah, give me the Pelicans. I'll take the Pelicans.
And second game is Rockets Jazz in Utah, and I have the Jazz winning that.
I'll take the Jazz too. We got the same picks. But these are probably... Oh wait, I don't know what the line is tonight. Jazz Rockets. That's interesting. Betting wise. Wonder what Vegas thinks. Even though Vegas also liked the Raptors in that series. Like a lot. I will never understand. How the fuck did they miss that? Like the people who mean the most.
Because they didn't take into consideration the human factor. Like these guys are still human beings.
Yeah.
And they have the psyches of human beings. So they're not just like, plug and play machines.
Robots.
Unless you're on the Celtics. So like things like little brother syndrome affect them. And it's really fucking
oh my god, they totally
Toronto.
have little bro syndrome.
All right. So a couple good games tonight. Looking forward to seeing Fizdale's press conference. And we will see you next week.
Catch you on the flippity flip.